Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I'm your host, Gabe Peterson, and this is the place investors go to gain actionable advice, learn about current market trends, and hear war stories from other professional investors out there in the field today. Before we get started, I have two quick housekeeping items for you. First, if you like this episode, we would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. It is the best way to support the show and keep it running far into the future. Second, if you're a new investor looking to get started in real estate or an experienced investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you that will cover how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance those deals with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. On top of that, I throw in an insane amount of free bonuses that you'll have access to once you buy the ebook. All I charge is our admin costs to keep this show running. So if you're serious about real estate investing and want to create both active and passive income as an investor, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com and click on the button that says get the ebook in the upper right-hand corner to grab yourself a copy. With that said, let's dive right in. Today we have a very special guest with us, ready to drop some investor knowledge on you. So buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right, we are live. Today we have with us Jason Jones. Jason is a former bank manager and financial planner who got sick and broke and was out of work, heard Kiyosaki on the radio, and then went on to buy 30 house rentals in 3 years using various creative financing strategies. And in addition to that, has wholesaled about 400 houses. Jason, that is an awesome story. So I'm excited to jump into the meat of it. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, thanks, Gabe. And great to be here. Hey, listen, first thing I got to say is you don't get anything in life without rolling up your sleeves and a whole lot of work, right, Gabe?
Absolutely.
Just to be clear to all the listeners out there, a lot of hard work and graft and hustle.
Yep.
No such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme, that's for sure.
Not at all. And I like that you got started with Robert Kiyosaki's book. That seems to be a common theme here on Real Estate Investing Club. So before we get started, why don't you just take us into your story? Where are you and how did you get started in real estate in the first place?
Yeah, well, so born and raised in the UK, was working at a bank, working very long hours, as I'm sure our readers, listeners can relate to. Got to a point where basically I felt like I couldn't really do anymore to be able to earn anymore. And so decided to leave the bank and got hired by a little private boutique company doing financial planning that was owned by a husband and wife couple that were British, had lived in the US for a long time and had come back to the UK. And so I was young and naive enough. And over the course of lunch, they offered me this job and said to me, what do you think about going to the States? And so I'd never ever been before, but it sounded exciting. And I think there was an air of excitement and terror at the same time.
As they all often go together, right? Excitement and terror.
Yeah, but I didn't know what was in front of me, and I took a leap of faith, hopped on a plane and ended up in San Francisco before finally landing in a place called Marina del Rey.
Oh, yeah.
And the irony is making more money than I'd ever made in my life before, making about $150,000, had the convertible car out the front, and life was peachy, Gabe. I thought I'd made it. That thing they call the American dream.
Yeah. And 150. Well, in San Francisco, that I bet it didn't feel like too much. But before you go forward with your story, I'm going to ask, can you just shut off your video? We're getting a little choppy audio here, so I want to, retain your voice, and we'll sacrifice the video.
Okay. Are we good, Gabe?
Yep, we're good.
Yeah. So, the irony in all of this is that I came to learn that I had one stream of income, and what happened is life was good, and I was complacent in that I thought I had everything figured out. I met my wife through a mutual friend who set us up on a blind date. And she was a struggling school teacher working in the Los Angeles Unified School District. And anyway, I had a July 4th party. This was July the 4th of 2003. And I always tell people it was a good party, but it wasn't that good. But, you know, when I woke up on July the 5th, my whole life was about to change. And I can tell you, I absolutely wasn't ready for it. I was terrified because I woke up almost completely paralyzed and unable to get out of bed.
Oh, geez.
And yeah, and nobody, like none of the regular mainstream doctors could figure out what was wrong with me. Well, what I knew was that if I couldn't go to work on Monday, guess what happened to that $150,000 a year job? Yeah, exactly. And so my wife and I had what we affectionately call a come to Jesus meeting, which for anybody that's not familiar with it, it's where you sit down and you have a really brutally honest, heartfelt conversation about the need to do something different than what we were doing. My wife had an interest in real estate. I dabbled around with it, but nothing significant. And one day on the radio, I have to give my wife all the credit for this. She ends up hearing Kiyosaki on the radio promoting his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. She runs out and buys the book. Being the school teacher, reads the book very quickly. She's got the highlighter pen out, the post-it notes on all the important sections. And after she gets done reading the book, you know what she wants to do with that book, right, Gabe? She wants to give that book to me to read.
Of course.
And I was, to say that I was, let me put it this way. I was arrogant, stubborn, probably had my pride getting in the way, because I remember saying to her, oh, I don't need to read this book. I already know all of this. And I married somebody that, you know, I married an equal who doesn't mince her words. And so she said to me, well, if you know all this, how come we're poor and broke?
Oh, nice. Straight to the quick.
Yeah. And, you know, she was absolutely right. Sometimes we need to hear, you know, not what we want to hear, but of course, but what we need to hear. And she was right. I read the book. And for everybody that's read that book, what a great book. I love all the books that he's written. And what was interesting is that I was the one that had taken all the classes to become a certified financial planner. But I only knew what I knew from that. I didn't know anything else about creating multiple passive income, you know, leverage. I didn't know any of that. So I thought I did, but I really didn't. And so anyway, after reading the book, we realized that for us, if we were going to do this, we needed to learn. And, you know, this was long enough ago that there was no affectionately become YouTube University. And so my wife found some classes, and, you know, we went and found the classes and got to meet Kiyosaki for the first time, and Kim. Cool. And his whole entourage of advisors. And better than that, Gabe, was that he introduced me to his doctor, who's still my doctor 17 years later, who ironically happens to be called Dr. Rob as well. So it gets kind of confusing with all these Roberts.
That's funny.
But he ran, so after the class, we stayed on. The class was in Scottsdale, Arizona, where Kiyosaki lives. Went and saw the doc. He kind of thought he knew what was wrong with me. Got tested, and there was one lab that at that time that really was good at testing for this, and it was in San Francisco. And it came back that I had a very acute form of Lyme disease.
Oof.
And yeah, I don't know if any of the listeners would have ever, if anybody knows anybody that's had it, but it was bad. I mean, psychologically, I was basically a prisoner trapped in my own body.
Yeah,
My
and that
mind,
it drains your. I mean, I'm not a doctor at all, but I've heard of Lyme disease, and I understand that it really. I mean, once you have it, you're just drained. Like you can't. It sounds like you got
yeah,
stuck in bed and you just couldn't get up.
yeah, basically everything is a big ordeal. You're tired all the time. Everything, like physically, is a struggle and a strain, and so I got tested, and Dr. Robert had two sons that he had cured of Lyme's, and he gave me an opportunity, no guarantees. Um, but I basically figured I had nothing to lose. And so for the next 10 months, I did this very aggressive homeopathic sort of botanical protocol. And at the end of the 10 months, it came back negative. And so I slowly, took me a few more years, but slowly started to get my health back together. Now, look, I didn't get it all back. I don't have the boundless amounts of energy that I had before I got it, but I'd say I got about 90 to 95% of my health back, and I was just thrilled with that. And it's been a work in progress the whole time, Gabe. And
Yeah,
so,
95. I mean, that is. I mean, considering that Lyme disease can be, as I understand it, a lifelong affliction, getting 95% better is can't
it's
get
a
better than that.
miracle. Yeah, yeah. And so in the background of in the background of basically working towards getting our health back together, we were basically studying like crazy, taking classes. My wife's a big note taker, and we started to put into practice what we learned. And the very first strategy that we learned, which is often, where beginners might start, was wholesaling. And
Yep.
and we did it for a simple reason. My credit was crappy. We had a limited amount of funds, and we needed, a fast way to make some chunk money, and that's what we started with. And it didn't take very long, actually, because within 6 months, we realized, and it wasn't like we planned it out, but we woke up one day after about 6 months and realized we'd made enough that my wife didn't need to go back to work anymore, and she could quit her job.
Very
And
nice. 6 months. That's pretty good. What
yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I want to keep it in context just so that people on here don't think it's all pie in the sky, Gabe. She was making about $45,000 a year as a teacher. We were making in the beginning about we started off making $5,000 wholesaling, and as we got better, we moved up to 10 and kind of kept that needle moving up. And then within a year of wholesaling, we had paid off all our bad debts, and had accumulated what I call chunk money. And then in the background of that, sort of the ground with 6 months, we then started learning, foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, creative finance strategies, using other people's credit. I mean, whatever we could do. It wasn't one thing that we did, but we basically, not having a lot of money and credit forced us to have to learn how to do it without those things, so that then when we did have those things, we could make them go further. So anyway, yeah. So within 3 years, we had bought 30 passive income rental properties using none of our own credit because we didn't have any, Gabe. So
wow, 3 years, 3 to 30.
yeah.
That is a really good turnaround time. What market were you working in?
Oh, we were all over the place. We were in Florida. We were in Vegas, Florida. Where else? Idaho, New Mexico. Let's see, where have I missed anywhere?
Wow.
Yeah. So we basically, because of living in LA at the time, and it was just so expensive in LA, we went straight to out of state investing. I'm not saying we were I'm not saying that we were comfortable with it. It was just more a case that that's what was going to work for us, and that's what we needed to do. And look, we were surrounded by mentors, coaches, and we just did what we would. We basically became good students where we trusted the process, learned the system, and when we were told to do things, Gabe, we got on with it.
I love that attitude. That is especially in real estate because when you first get started, everything is so overwhelming, and you need to just you need to get a process. You need to choose the first step, and you need to focus on that one step until you get there, and then you look at the next step and focus on that. Because I mean, if you look at the entire, if you try to go from 0 to 30, I mean, it's a hard, it's an overwhelming idea to get it all done like that. So. I love your guys' story. You did this relatively quickly. So three or from 0 to 30 in 3 years, you guys have done a lot of wholesales. God, man, there's so many ways I want to take this. Let's first start on just international or out of state investing. This is something that a lot of people are afraid about because I mean, including myself, I will invest in large things like mobile home parks and RV parks out of state, but single family, it's kind of, I'm always a bit, nervous about because there is that structure that you have to maintain. So what have you kind of found has worked for you in investing out of state?
Sure. Well, I think the first thing I want to say is that everything we have done has been a process that was laid out in front of us that we understood before we did it, even if we didn't understand every aspect of it. And Gabe, what I mean by that is the wholesaling was a means to an end for us to get started, but it wasn't something that we wanted to do forever. The buying, so to answer that question, what we realized is that after owning 30 single family homes, we realized that we didn't want to own 30 single family home rentals. And so within about 3 years of doing the business and getting trained, we started transitioning into commercial real estate. And so basically we had a big portfolio in Vegas. And so we picked those up in '03. We sold them in '06. And then we stayed out of the Vegas market from '06 through 2010, and we let it correct. But really, from about the 3-year mark on, we stopped buying single family home rentals. We then started to basically sell those, cash out, and then started rolling those profits into, my favorite is multifamily and mobile home parks. It's for a lot of different reasons. They're easier to manage. It's easier to have one 30-unit building, as I'm sure you know, than 30 single family homes scattered around. But what we learned was with out of state investing is one of the positives is that it forces you to have to build a team. And so I want everyone to know that we didn't do any of this blindly. It was all very well thought out, very meticulous. Before we ever invested in an area, we spent time in that area, in that market, building a team, getting to put the people together. And look, I can tell everybody the good, bad, and the ugly, because if you're in the business for long enough, it's not going to be perfect. I've had a property manager steal money, steal rent money from us. I've had a property manager tell us that units were empty when they were rented. And what I learned is that you've really got to build the team. It's critical that, I call it OPR, other people's resources, Gabe, and building out and really thinking about, and I got this from Kiyosaki, really thinking about who do you want on your team and having a process in place to like interview, screen them. So like, I mean, if you don't have a good property manager, you're going to get screwed, right? I
Yep.
mean, just that's how it is. So, but I would say on the most part along the way, we've had a few negative experiences that only taught us to be, that we needed to be better. But on the whole, because of the training and the processes and the learning and the screening, for the most part, I would say it's worked out very, very well. But I always tell people, you cannot be an absentee landlord and not pay attention and know what's going on, right?
Yep. Yeah, those absentee landlords are the ones that we buy properties from because I mean, I can't tell you the number of times we've, a landlord has called us from our ad and he's just been like, "Oh, I just want to get rid of it." And we get in a conversation and he's just been like, "Yeah, I just haven't paid attention to it, and now, this mobile home park, there's, drugs being dealt, there's just
Yep.
nobody's paying rent." And we're just like, "Well, yeah, I mean, you haven't paid attention to it, so that makes sense." So I mean,
To yeah, to add to what you're saying, one of our early apartment complexes that we bought, it wasn't a big property, it was a little 8 unit, and that property, we knew it needed work. It was what I call value added. It was a burned out, tired landlord, and one of the things we had to do is there was a dog problem on that. Too many big dogs barking, causing havoc, and so we had to we got rid of all the tenants, all the dogs. We had to clean up the units, clean up the courtyard, bring in a really good property management company, and then gradually, that property, night and day difference. And sometimes you have to do that. Just get rid of all the riffraff, you know, and clean house.
yep, yep, absolutely. So when when you went into your first market international, or not, I keep want to say internationally, it's because you have the accent.
Right.
When you when you first went into your first out of state market, um, how did you build your team? So what was the first person that you contacted? Was it brokers? Was it property managers?
Yeah, so the first market was Las Vegas. One of the reasons we chose that market was its close proximity to LA. We liked the fact that we could drive there, and actually after we got things going there, we ended up moving there for a while just because we were so busy with what we were doing in that market.
Mm,
The a couple of the like the trainers for Kiyosaki that we got to know ended up they were living out there, and so we got to connect with them, network. They had some resources, and then exactly like you said, we started making connections with realtors, brokers, property management companies. Um, we went to there was a couple of local like real estate investor associations. So we basically just did all the above, and slowly, bit by bit, we started to build the team. And I'm a big advocate. Gabe, I don't know if you've read the E Myth, but Kiyosaki's whole philosophy is I didn't get in. I mean, I need to know a lot of things, but I didn't get into real estate to be the plumber, the electrician, the bookkeeper. And so what I got from Kiyosaki was the mentality that I didn't need to know everything. I just needed to know if things came up. And for me, a big part of it was a couple of mentors that I had early on, was that I could call and lean on. And then just try it, and then find people that were at the top of their game.
yep, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, having a mentor, someone who has been there before you, is so key. I mean, Kiyosaki's book is awesome. I that's actually how I got started too. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it just kind of opened my eyes to what could happen. But books don't. I don't know. There's something about books. They give you the information, but it doesn't like, I don't know, it doesn't gel correctly in the brain. But once you get a mentor, somebody who's actually done it, and they can just kind of fill in the gaps that, you have the structure from the books, and then the
Right.
mentor is gonna guide you. It's gonna fill in the gaps and put you on the path that you need to be going. So, I mean, I highly recommend anybody who is listening, watching, they're thinking about getting started in real estate, find a mentor. We have a coaching program at the Real Estate Investing Club. So find somebody who can guide you on that path.
Yeah, Gabe, I relate it to this. So
Oh,
during COVID, as I'm sure a lot of people out there did, I decided to start a garden. And so we decided, because we have limited space in SoCal, to do a container garden, and we did the best that we could. But I had somebody come over to our house, and they didn't charge a whole lot of money, but they charged me $100 for an hour of their time to tell me what I needed to do and what I was doing wrong. And basically what that does in the gardening context, that's true for anything, is you can try to figure out on that. And some things that I was doing with the gardening worked, but some things didn't, and I didn't know. And you can only, like I said, you can only get so much from books or YouTube. And it's not that I'm against any of that, not at all. It's that what I've come to realize is I want to get the results in the shortest amount of time possible. And I want to be able to avoid making the most mistakes. I mean, you're going to make mistakes, but if I can cut out a lot of them, in whatever I do in life, that's my philosophy. And that's my recommendation to whatever they decide to do, right?
yep. Absolutely. It reminds me of that quote. I don't remember who said it. It was like Alexander Hamilton or something, but they said the guy who stands on the shoulders of giants sees farther than the giants. And so, standing on the shoulders of the giant of whoever your mentor is, and being able to, take advantage of their experience can get you pretty far. So, Jason, we are at the end of the episode. We have crushed this 20 minutes, gone right through it. So I am going to have to push us on to the next round, but I have appreciated your conversation, and I loved hearing your story. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Gabe.
Awesome. So this next round is called the quick question round. It's where I ask quick questions. You give quick answers. It starts with books. We've already talked about a number of books, and I always ask your favorite real estate book and your favorite life wisdom book, if you will.
Oh, blimey. Okay, so that's a good one. Well, one of my favorite books is, it's a very heavy book. People can now watch it. I think there's a free version on YouTube. Oh crikey, it's the Creature from Jekyll Island is one of my. I don't know if you've read it, Gabe, but the Creature from Jekyll Island is one of my favorite books. And then, of course, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil.
Ooh,
by Napoleon Hill. And then, of course, I pretty much, I'm a fan of all the books that Kiyosaki's written.
Awesome. I'm going to have to check out Creature of Jekyll Island. That's a new one for me.
It's a heavy book, but if you don't, of course, when I read it, it was only in paperback, but now it's on, there's like a 24-hour recording on YouTube. So that's literally how long it takes to get through that book. But with what we're going through right now, it's a great book.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check it out. Next question is habits. Habits are the foundation of our life. So if you could point to one habit that you feel has contributed the most to your success, what would that habit be?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So my wife has trained me very well that I have to have a to-do list. And, if I have to take 15 minutes and write that to-do list and take the time to write it, to prepare before I get stuck into anything. Yeah, I mean, I write and review my to-do list every day. And of course, when I go throughout the day, I'm crossing stuff off, and then guess what? I'm adding stuff. So it's never ending. But I find an enjoyment in writing my list now,
Yep, I love it. To-do
and
lists
never
are,
quit. Never quit, never give up. Don't ever take no for an answer. It's like, heck, I remember when I was dealing with some of these commercial real estate brokers on some bank-owned properties, like apartment complexes in Vegas. They never wanted to call me back. So I call them 10, 15 times a day if I have to. And I don't care if I upset them, and they
you're
don't
gonna
care.
talk to me.
Yeah, exactly. And then if that doesn't work, you get in the car and I drove down to their office and put myself in front of them. And then guess what? They still didn't treat me very well until I bought the first bank-owned fixer from them. And then they realized that I wasn't all, talk is cheap nowadays.
Yep.
They realized I was the real deal. And of course, that changed everything. So never quit, never give up, but you have to be resilient, right?
Absolutely. Never quit is one of my my favorite life mottos. Just keep going. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter what you hit, just keep going forward. And
exactly.
that kind of shortchanges the next question, which is if you could go to the Jason who was just getting started, maybe working in your corporate job back in the day, go to that Jason, walk up to him, look him in the face, and give him one piece of advice moving forward in life. What would that be?
Oh, that was easy. Get the hell out of the bank. Get out of there and do something better for yourself is what came to mind, Gabe. Um, it's funny because, again, it's like when you work for somebody, it's not like working for yourself is always great. Of course not. You know what I mean by that. But hey, better that you work for yourself and you get the fruits of it all.
Hmm.
And it's definitely not easy, and it's definitely the path less traveled. But yeah, give up my perception of job security at the bank and go do something for myself. That's really would be the advice I would give, and go for it.
Yep. Yep. I like to call it choice freedom. I was in corporate and
Yeah.
I needed to get out just because I needed to be free to make choices with my life. So awesome. And that brings us to our final question, which is, you've given us great advice and I'm sure people listening, watching want to reach out. So what would be the best way for them to get in contact?
Yeah, so I've got a website. It's expertwealthbuild.com, or they can shoot me an email at jason@expertwealthbuilder.com. And it's me. There's no robots. There's no paid receptionist or app. They'll get me.
Perfect. Expertwealthbuild.com or Jason at expertwealthbuilders.com. I will
Oh,
put
builder. Yeah, no
builder,
S on the end.
no
Builder. Yes.
plural. All
Yeah.
right. I will put that link in the show notes. So if anybody listening or watching wants to get in contact with Jason, you can go below and click through and say hi.
Gabe, if I could do a shameless plug, I
Away.
wrote two Kindle books during COVID. If anybody wants a copy for free, I'm not charging. I will gladly. They're chock full of content. I wrote them because I'm passionate about the content. If anybody wants a copy of those books, they can have them for free.
Perfect. And they'll find that on your website, Expert Wealth Build, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome, Jason. Again, thank you for hopping on. I loved your story. For everybody who is here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. Again, you are the reason that we do this. So thank you guys for being here. Again, the best ways to support the show is just to subscribe, like, and share this episode with your friends and family. Other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Keep going, keep pushing on, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Thanks, Gabe.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the investor's quick analysis calculator and offer tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automatically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the investor's daily success tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the wholesaler's template for quick assignment cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day, an even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.